this is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Today we are going to talk about Azure Backups. Now, before moving forward with the Azure Backup, first let's understand what exactly the backup is. So, backup is the very important component for the infrastructure because it allows you to restore the backup from your last recovery point. Now, why it's important? So, let's say you have some VMs running on the hypervisor, or maybe you are running some sort of physical VMs which is hosting a databases, and somehow that database is got corrupted or VM is got corrupted. So if you don't having a backup on that time, you would not be able to restore your VM, and uh, that can basically is give you in a situation where you can have your financial losses with the organization. And in the same way, if you are having some sort of virus attack or some sort of ransomware attack on the VM, you would not be able to restore your VM and your application would be not came back. So that's what the backup is used. Now, Azure Backup is the one of the feature which is in the Azure cloud. Now, Azure Backup is the basically is the one-click option which allow you to take the backup of like a VM, SQL, SAP, or Azure file. It also you can also take the backup of your storage accounts, or it can also replace your on-premise solution as well. So Azure Backup have a capability to take the backups of the on-premise VM as well using the Mars agent, or you can have your Azure Backup server set up on the on-premise, and that can be connected with the Azure Recovery Vault, and from where you can take your backup of your on-premise VMs as well. So it means it can also replace your on-premise uh, backup solution as well. Now, here is the some of the benefit of having the cloud backup or specifically the Azure backup. Now, capacity is the one of the feature, so you don't need to worry about any kind of space since we have a unlimited space available on the Azure. We don't need to worry about the cost since it's a pay as you go. So how much you have consumed, you need to pay for that. It's purely a simplicity. So it's just a few clicks from where you can enable the backup for your VMs or the cloud resources, or just within a few clicks you can restore them as well. Freedom, we have a freedom to basically close the service as soon as we want to. Like let's say if we have taken a backup of 10 VMs today, and after 15 days we don't want to use that service, we can go ahead and delete that. So there is a no long-term contact. It's just a pay as you go, no investment of any kind of hardware, software, or any kind of licensing. Now, management is pretty much simple. We don't need to basically manage any kind of infrastructure or any kind of hardware or any kind of storage for the cloud backup. It's simply we just need to go on the portal, and from there we can enable the backup or we can restore the backup for our resources. Now, here is the key benefit of having the Azure backup. So we can take the backup of the on-premise. We can take the backup of Azure VM. It can be scalable, unlimited data transfer. So we don't have any kind of data transfer limitations there. It can help us to keep the data secure. So whatever the data which has been taken through the Azure Recovery Vault, that is basically in the basically in the secure in the backend. It's centralized monitor. We have a single uh, portal or single console from where we can manage our all the backups. Its app consistent is there, and crash consistent is also there with the Azure backup. We have a long-term and short-term retention for the backup. So let's say we have taken a backup today, we can retain it for the years, or if we need to for 2 days or 3 days, that's something we can also do with the Azure backup. Automatic storage management. So we don't need to worried about how exactly we are going to manage the storage in the backend. It's purely automatic. We don't need any kind of steps to add more space in the storage account. Multiple storage options. So we have two options with the Azure backup. One is called LRS and GLS, which allows you to keep the backup in the region or between the two regions as well. Now here are the supported backup. So we can take the backup of on-premise file folder and system state backup using the Mars agent, and then we can basically have our DPM service running on the uh, on-premise, or it's also called the Azure Backup Server, through which we can take the backup of Hyper-V and the VMware VMs as well, and the other physical server which we are running. We can take the backup of Azure VM. So what any kind of VM which we are running on the Azure, we can take the backup of that. We can take the backup of the managed disk. We can take the backup of Azure file share. We can take the backup of SQL Server. So with the Azure backup, we can take the specific database backup in the SQL Server as well. We just need to enable a one SQL extension there that would allow us to take the backup of specific database as well. We have options to enable the backup of SAP HANA. We have options to take the backup of Postgres server, which is right now in the preview, and it's going to be available in GA will be very soon. Then we can take the backup of Azure Blob Storage as well, so which allow us to take the backup of Azure Storage account as well. Now this is how the VM architecture look like. So you can see like we have the Azure VM agent, which allow us to take the snapshot of the disk, and then it can be transferred to the backup service, and then from the backup service it will be get transferred to the backend vault on the which uh, the storage has been attached. Now this is how your hybrid backup architecture look like. So you have the backup agent through which you can take the backup of on-premise resources. Then you have a backups to take on the all the resources which is on the cloud, and then you can have your DPM or Azure backup service running on the Azure, through which you can basically take the backup of your multiple resources on the on-premise. Then it do have a recovery point management, it do have a storage management, it do have a data tiering. So data tiering is the one important feature which allows to put the data in the archive tier as well. That is the one of the feature which is there. It's have a resiliency and availability. So with the Azure backup, if we have a GRS enable, we have options to restore the backup in a secondary region, which is the paired region for the region where we have deployed the service. We have a multi-user authentication, we do have a policy management, we have a monitoring and reporting, we do have access and control, and the multi-factor authentication, something we can do on the backup service as well. Now let's move out to the demo. So in the demo, I would be able to show you how you exactly can go ahead and create the recovery vault, and how you can enable the backup for a VM, which is there. And I will try to show you the backup of the Azure storage or file share as well. Now, in my case, I am already logged in on the Azure portal. So if I go to the VM, I have a two VM running here, which is the VM01 and VM02. So I would be going to enable my backup of VM02. So my VM02 is running in the center US. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a backup uh, vault in the center US so that I can enable the backup to this VM. So I would be going in this recovery for this resource group, and from here I can go ahead and create that. Either I can go on the home page, and from here I can also create the backup service. So I'm going to type backup and site recovery. As soon as I did that, it would be going to show me the options to create the backup service, and I just need to click on the create. I just need to select the resource group where I want to create the recovery vault, and then the location which is going to be in the center US, because my app02 VM is in the center US. So let me put the name of the recovery vault, and that's it. So it's just giving the name is not available. So let me put it on the 01. So I might be I have created a backup 01 in the other location, which is in the East US. So that's the reason it's giving me the error. So just click on next and review and create. So it's just going to run the validation to see if there is any error. Yep, there is no error. So we can go ahead and click on create. So as soon as we clicked on create, it's going to submit the deployment in the backend, and then it's going to be create the recovery vault for us. So we just need to wait for a few seconds so that this recovery vault can be created. Yeah, we can see the deployment is completed. So let's go back, and we have this recovery vault is created. So this recovery vault is basically in the center US. So if you go into the down and if you go to the backup infrastructure from here, we can basically see what kind of storage account has been protected. And a part of that, if we want to change any of anything like the how many backups or how many VMs back agent has been there, how many workload in the Azure VM, or how many backup servers, how many DPM we have, we can do that. A part of that, if we want, if we have added any kind of backup server or any kind of on-premise server, that will be visible to the here. Now, a part of that, if we go back and we have a plenty of options in the manage, like we can create the backup policy, we can create the backup infrastructure, we can see what kind of infrastructure is it. So these two options are not for us as of now. I'm going to cover these two options in our my future videos. And then we do have other options for monitoring. We do have other option for the automation. So these are the options I can basically use that. Now let's move out. Let's move to the more on the backup. So if you go on the backup after the overview page, after the overview and click on here, you would be able to see a lot of things like the monitoring, how many backups are in a critical stage or in a warning stage, how many pre-checks are there for the VM. So pre-check is something which will be going to see what exactly is happening with the VM. If there is any kind of critical or warning, from here you would be able to see how many VMs in the critical state or how many VMs in the warning state. We can see how many jobs has been in progress or how many is failed. And then we have the cloud storage here, and then we have the backup items, how many items has been protected. So as of now, if you see, I don't have any backup items protected here. So let's go ahead and enable the backup for a first VM. So for that, we need to go on the protected item, and then we need to click on the backup items. We need to go on the Azure virtual machine. We need to click on add. We need to select what we are going, which workload we are going to uh, backup and where it's running. So we have a plenty of options. We have the on-premise, we have a stacker, we have a stack SCI, and then we have the on-premise. So if we go on the on-premise, we do have plenty of options to take the backups. And same way, if we go to the SC stacker, we do have a plenty of options. If we go with the FCI, we do have a plenty of options here. So in my case, I'm going to the Azure, and I do have a plenty of options to take the backup like SQL Server, SAP HANA, and Azure File Share. So I'm just going to select my workload is running on Azure, and the workload which I want to backup is the Azure VM. Now click on backup, and in next tab, what I need to do, I need to select the VM for which VM I want to take the backup, and what exactly the backup policy will be going to be for this VM. It's taking a little time. Okay, so it's still taking a lot of time. So let me go back and add it again and see if that's work. Okay. So yeah, now I have options to create the policy. So as of now, it's showing as a default policy, which have a daily backup at 4:30 a.m. UTC, and then it's going to be instant recovery point is going to be for 2 days, and then you have a daily backup retained for next 30 days. But if I want to create my own policy, I can go ahead and create. I just need to click on create a new policy. I need to define the name. So uh, let me define the name and what is the frequency going to be. So let's say I want to take the backup on a daily basis on at the night, which is going to be around 1 a.m. and the time zone would be 5:30, which is India time zone. So not this one. We don't want to go in this one. Yep, this one here. So this is going to be, now I want to have the instant recovery point for 2 days. So instant recovery point is the very good option. So usually earlier when this option was not here, what happened, if you have taken a backup of a VM, that's take around 1 hour to restore it. Let's say you have a VM with the 1 TB of data, that's take around 2 to 3 hours to restore the VM from the last restore point. But with the instant restore, it allows to recover the VM very fast. So it's take one snapshot in the cache which allow us to restore the VM from there. So we have a number of days which we can set here, and let's say we have set over 2 days, or let's say we have set over 3 days. So that backup for last 3 will be in the instant recovery restore point, and from there we can restore the VM. So we can increase this one. The value can be 1 to 5. So let's say if I go for 6, it doesn't allow us to do that. So maximum I can go in the 5 recovery point I can put in the instant recovery. And one more important thing is, like, if you are increasing this number from 2 to 5, it's definitely going to increase your cost as well. And then we do have options to in the weekly backup, monthly backup, and the yearly backup. In my case, I'm doing it for daily, and I'm keeping it for next 30 days. But if you want to go for a weekly backup, if you want to go for a monthly backup, or if you want to go for the yearly backup, you do have options, so you can go ahead and configure it. So let's say you want to take the every backup taken on Sunday would be retained for next 12 weeks. Every backup taken on first Sunday will be retained for next 60 months. Every backup taken on January first week on first Sunday will be retained for next 10 years. So these are the configuration you can modify according to your business requirement. So just click on OK. So as soon as you're done, the backup policy will be get created and will be configured here, and this will be get created once you enable the backup. So now what I need to do, I need to go ahead and select the VM which I want to add in this here. So okay, so it's haven't recovered the VM yet, so it's going to take a little time. So let's go ahead and re-add and see if that's work. Okay, so it's still giving me the error. Sorry, it's still giving not showing me the VM here. Might be okay, not showing me the VM. So let me go back and check what's happening with this one. It's in center US. That's fine. Let me go ahead on the VM as well. It's in the center US. That's also fine. So I do have options to enable the backup directly from the VM as well. So if I go here, I do have enabled the backup, but I want to use the existing one. And from here, I can create the policies as well, but I want to go ahead and that enable it from recovery vault which I have recently created. So let me go ahead and try to add it again with the default policy. So I can go ahead and add it from here as well. So click on backup. Okay, I don't know why today the portal is running a little slow. So let me go ahead and refresh the complete page. Skip for now. Yep, I'm back in the recovery vault. Backup. And no, I don't know, it's not running for me. It's still in the loading state. So let me go back and go here. Backup items, uh, Azure VMs, add, backup, and no, it's not working for me. So let's do one thing. Let's go back to the VM and let's enable the backup from there. So I'm on the VM02. I do have a one toggle here to enable the backup as well. So I just need to go in the operations, and here I can go ahead and enable the backup for this VM. So I'm going to enable the backup with the existing vault which I have created with the default policy, and click on enable. So as soon as I did that, it's going to initiate the deployment. It's going to submit the deployment. And if you go here in the VM and if you go to the extension, it would be going to install a one extensions with the for the Azure Backup Vault, which is a mass agent, which will be going to have it here. And with that mass agent, the backup will be taken from the VM. Now, if I go back to the recovery vault, I would be able to see what's going on with this, what exactly happening with my deployment. So for that, what I need to go on the backup jobs in under the monitoring. If I go here, I would be able to see. So what exactly happening it? So it's has been failed. Let me see what's wrong with this one. Item could not be found. Item has been deleted. Okay, so maybe it haven't discovered the VM yet, so that's the reason it's giving us the error. So let's give it a some time. And meanwhile, let me go ahead and show you the another vault which I have already configured with the backup. So if I go on the backup, I would be able to see I have a one backup which is there. So if I go to the backup items, I would be able to see like I have a one backup for the Azure VM, and if I click here, I would be able to see name of the VM and the resource group, what is the pre-checks looks like, what is the last backup state look like, and what is the last restore point. Now if I go inside this VM, I do have a plenty of options, like I do have a options to restore the VM, I do have options to file recovery, I do have option to stop it, and I do have options to resume, delete, or restore the secondary is in an undelete option. So these are basically would not be hidden until unless I have stopped the backup, or I have if I want to delete the data backup, or if I've stopped the backup, or if I want to restore into the secondary region. Now to restore the VM, it's pretty much simple. I just need to click on restore the VM, and I need to select which restore point I want to from which restore point I want to restore the VM, and it's the application consistent. That's it. And what exactly the operation I want to do. So I want to create a new VM, I want to restore the disk. So I do have a two options to restore the as a restore type, and then I can define the virtual name and what exactly the network subnet and the staging location will be look like. Now another option we have in the restore configuration. So eventually we have two options here, creating a new or replacing the existing one. So if I want to create a new one, I can go ahead and create a new virtual machine, or I can go ahead and create the new disk as well. Or if I want to replace the existing VM, I can go ahead and use this one, and then I can select the uh, options to restore the existing VM as well. So in my case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new virtual machine, VM03. That's going to be in the same resource group. And let me see. I have this VNet. Okay, this is going to be subnet. I don't know why it doesn't allows me to select the restore point. But in my case, it's the manage disk. So I don't know why it's giving me this option. So it doesn't applicable in my case because it's just for the VM. So let's go ahead and restore it. Okay, it's giving me sorry. It's giving me the it's asking for this option. So I can go ahead and select my storage account, and from here I can basically uh, like restore the VM. And a part of that, if I want to create the new disk, I can go ahead and create the new disk as well. So in my case, I don't know why this is not giving me the option to select the location, but I can go ahead and do that as well. So it's asking for the storage account. So what I can do, let me go ahead and create the one storage account in the East US. I think I have my VMs in the East US, right? Yep, it's in the East US. So let me go ahead and create one storage account in the East US, and let's see if that's work. Storage account. Yep, this is here. Let me go ahead and create a one storage account in the East US. It's going to be in here. Storage account is if demo sdg01, and it's going to be LRSGRS. That's fine. I am going to have it with the default options. It's going to run the validation. Yep, that's done. Let's click on create. So it's going to take a little time, and once that is done, we would be able to see a new storage account has been deployed in the resource group under the Alif demo group. So we just need to wait for a few seconds, and the storage account will be get done. Yep, now you can see my storage account has been created. So let me go ahead and see the storage account if I can see that. Okay, I can't see that yet in the resource group. So let's refresh this once. Now that account has been changed. So yep, here we have. So let's go ahead and restore the VM and see if that's work. Uh, Let me go ahead and here. Let me go ahead and go to the backup items here and Azure virtual machine, restore, select the restore point, and I'm creating a new VM. So let me see if that option is there. So VM01 and submit. No, it's still not giving me this storage option. I don't know why. But if I replace it this existing one, no, it's still not giving me the option. But uh, this allows you to restore the VM from here. So you can restore this one. I don't know why it's not showing now. I do have already have a storage account been created. So we'll try it. We'll give it just few seconds. Let's go back and let me show you how you can enable the backup for the VM. So let's go back in the backup 01 vault. Go to the backup item and Azure VM. Click on add. Click on backup. Give it time. Click on add. I hope this is okay. So this is still not showing up due to certain reasons, but it's usually it doesn't take this much of time to show the VM.